Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday, it's January 8th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And just a reminder that tomorrow is um, a holiday, a trading holiday. Um, they're doing something in honor of former President Jimmy Carter. So the market will be closed. So no chart, no mid-morning chart, and no chart lesson tomorrow. Enjoy the day off, and I may do a chart lesson on Friday. It just depends on how my day is going. Um, I usually like to be out of here definitely before 2 o'clock on Friday. So, and it's hard to do the video before 2:30. So I don't know if I'll do one Friday. Normally I wouldn't do one on Friday, but since we're already had 2 weeks off and then a real short week this week, maybe I'll, depending on how the day is going, maybe I'll do something whatever we have up until lunchtime if I'm still here at lunchtime. And so you can watch for it. Not sure if there'll be one or not, but definitely not one tomorrow. So anyway, you can see our daily chart. We've already opened the new day, so this doji bar here was today's trading, and just a range day is what we had. We bounced off that support one more time. It continues to hold. I don't see rejection out of here where we're really taking off. This looked like we were going to have some rejection, but it didn't turn out to go very far. But the third time is usually the charm, so we'll see if we take off this time or if we continue to trade lower. You can see the envelope bands turning over here. We're not into really oversold territory. We're on the down side of the lower side of the, the envelope. So, um, but we're not completely oversold where you can expect a rally at any time. So we could still go much lower here. So we'll have to see what tomorrow brings, or actually, it'll probably be Friday. We'll have to see what Friday brings. So anyway, just kind of a sideways range type day today. You can see it there, and there was a lot of movement within that range, and it's a fairly large range. And we did tend to close in the upper portion of it before the day was over, instead of in the lower portion. So, but let's flip over there and take a look at it, and you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. And here it is, and you can just see the range. We broke lower here and failed. We had some pretty good moves here. It's been kind of wild and crazy the last few days, and that's not unusual for January. January, I mean, we got really slow going into November, end of November and early December, into the end of the year. But things are picking back up now. There's some good trends here. There was a lot of trades early on, not much in the afternoon. So we did have an early more some news items. We had the well, I thought we had something here at 7:30 this morning, but it's not on my chart, so I guess it's already cleared off. But there was something high volatility at 7:30 this morning, so I think there was something at 7 and something at 7:15, and I did reload my charts late this evening, so it probably wiped those off. So I don't want to. I can't remember what they were, but there were some news items, high volatility, that I had marked off here. So no trades in that. And it was. Let me zoom on in here a little bit more and make this easier. But we had the channel working up. We had the break and move to a new high. We kind of made a double top there. Then we had a move down. There is a second entry long here. I didn't, since we already had a break in new high and this is below the EMA, I did not mark this one. It turned out it would have been a nice trade, but you can see we're still in this down channel. We're below the EMA. We have had a break in a new high. Well, actually, I'm not sure if we quite made a new high. I don't think we did. High there is 61.75. Yep, see, we didn't quite make a new high. I didn't think we did. Yeah, when you back out there, it looks like it's basically a double top, but um, that would lend more towards the downside than going long. So it's just not. I don't think it's a great move to go long right there. I mean, of course, then you turn back down and you start trending down, but you get a triple test down here. good ways away from the EMA. I like going long right there. And this makes a new or low, but since it closed back inside, I like going long on that one. And then you get a quick second entry long, and you expect prices to make a retest of this high, if not make maybe a measured leg, or maybe even run back up since we hadn't made a new high yet. They're going to try to attempt to make a new high. And it's good for a scalp, nothing more, and it turns down. And then there's a second entry short. So usually a second entry like this is the center of the pattern, but we should have gone further than that. So this looks like a trap to me, so I like going short there. And sure enough, this thing, the bottom just falls out. Boom. And then it runs back up, and we confirm this downtrend line here with a nice signal bar. There is a hidden second entry. If you're new, don't worry about that. That's too advanced, and it'll just confuse you. But basically, you had a move up, a first entry, then a move up, and a second entry. We didn't break lower, so it doesn't count as a first entry. But if you went to a slightly smaller chart, you would probably see a second entry. So it's what I call it's hidden on this level of a chart. And generally, you don't want to trade those, especially if you're new. Now, if you're experienced and you understand what we're doing and you're really good at reading the chart, then you probably know that might be a good place to go short. I marked it green because it's not ideal, but it's there. And we get another second entry right here, but it doesn't break lower, and you get an inside bar, and you can't really go short there. That's not good enough signal bar. And then because that one's an inside bar, I'm not crazy about it. Because if this bar would have been the one that made the higher low, then maybe a break below it would be okay. But this, just the fact, the way that you got two in a row that are, this one has no body and this one has a small body, it just looks too congested. So just skip it. There's one later on that looks similar to this that I did mark as a possibility, and I'll explain that when we get to it. Just understand it. Don't enter on that. Then we turn higher, just a first entry, first entry, first entry, all the way up. But you do get a close outside the new high, and it basically makes a double top. And this actually breaks higher by one tick and fails and turns down, and that's a nice full bullish bar. So you could trade that on the engulfing bar. It doesn't save you much. And if you're, most of you, if you're not consistently profitable already, don't trade engulfing bars. They'll throw you off. But that bar is 24 ticks. So, but it's still a good trade. I marked it green just simply because it is an engulfing bar. But you might have saved a tick or two by. And another thing you could do, you may not get filled because this thing just took off, is when this broke lower, put your limit order a little further back up here and see if it'll back up and fill you and still go lower. Now, you're really taking a chance on an engulfing bar by doing that, but that's another way to possibly play that. But this thing turns out it's a nice trade. And that's why I just, I don't like skipping a trade just because of the signal bar. If the chart says to go short, I'm going short. I don't care about the signal bar. I'm going to put my stop where it goes. I'm going to still scalp out. I'm going to try to get a runner because we're in a downtrend. And not only do you get an easy scalp here, you get a nice runner. I mean, I would say, you probably don't exit till a break above that bar. That's 10 points. Even if you waited on the green one, that's free. That's 8 free points. So don't ever underestimate those runners. And you get a close outside new low, 2 legs up, and there's a second entry short there, but the signal bar doesn't qualify. And it ends up making a little double bottom, and then you get a second entry long on a trigger above that bar. I like going long there. I guarantee you they trap some shorts there. And you see how it rockets off real quick. That's a good sign that they probably trapped those shorts. And I like going long. It's a double bottom and a second entry long all in one setup there. And this thing just runs up. You get a close outside. There's no setup here to go long. And you end up kind of working sideways. You could treat that like a failed breakout, but you don't really get a good enough signal bar to go short. And again, the bottom just falls out of it. No setups here at all to get to really get long. Then it bounces at our overnight low. You can see bounces right about where we expect. There is a higher low here, so a break above that you could go long. I'd want to wait, and you can see this doesn't go very far. You get a close outside pretty quickly, move to a new high, and then you're working down, close outside, new low. You get a second entry long here, but the signal bar is not good enough. Now there was a triple test here, um, but I think I don't know that you want to go long on that triple test. If you did, it works. But the fact that we didn't take off here and get through the EMA and above the EMA is concerning. And you see we didn't here again, but you would have scalped out. It was an easy scalp. Then it comes back down. Then you get a failed breakout, but that signal bar is not good enough. It runs up, and you actually get a triple test here. This is another one I did not mark, but you could go short on that triple test. And it's a lower high too. And technically it's a second entry short too. So the only reason I didn't mark it blue was it looks a little sideways and congested there. But it's a triple test, and we're in it. We've been, we're not getting real. This looks similar to rejection, but you don't make a triple top in the middle of rejection either. So I mean, this is close that you could argue for it to be red, but I'll just leave it green. And of course we bounce here, second entry, but the signal bar is no good. But you do get a higher low here, and I like that one. And you confirm the trend line on the higher low. I like going long there. And you actually get another test of that trend line here, but the signal bar, we should have taken on off, so just skip it. If you didn't enter here, don't enter here. And it does take on off, runs to the top, turns down, close outside, two legs to a new low, and that's a second entry long right there. This is a new swing high. It's higher than that one, so first entry, second entry. It's right at the key entry point. The signal bar, I believe, closes in the upper 1/3. It's close, but the fact that you can see that trend line holding up through there, and it's a second entry long, and it's a fairly bullish bar, I say go for it. Again, you get a triple test, but we're in an uptrend now, so don't. You'd be better off looking for a triple test of a low rather than a high, because you're thinking longs now. And then again, you get a move down, a close outside, move to a new low, and that's a second entry long. Now you can't enter this on the engulfing bar. You got to wait till this closes and just go one tick above that bar. It is a second entry. And then it pulls back here, first entry, and another second entry right off the key entry point with another nice signal bar. Just go long. You actually get another second entry here, but I don't like the signal bar. We're still in this down micro down channel, so you got to skip that one. Turns out to be a nice move, but it's moving up. You get a first entry, and with a close outside, move to a new high. So that's a second entry short up there. Just go short one tick, way away from the EMA. Looks like a possible overshoot. Just go short below that. It's a quick, easy scalp. You don't get much more than that out of it, but you do get a scalp. And then we're just kind of chopping sideways here. I don't see anything that allows you to really get into this move down here. Like I said, there weren't a lot of setups later in the afternoon. I'd say it looks a little like a triple test. I think you're pressing it there. Really, it just looks like a double top to me. But you can see we did try to go higher there. So maybe you take that as a triple test. I'll give it a green. Turns out to be a good move, but it's just a risky setup. These are all first entries, and then finally you bottom out. You make a higher low, and then another higher low, and that's a second entry long. Notice that new swing high, first entry, pull back. When it breaks above that, that's a second entry long. And most breakouts fail, and of course this one's no different. It takes off. No setup there, and then you see these are all first entries. There's a second entry there, but you're not even back to the midline, much less the EMA. You can't go long there. It would have worked, but you just can't go long there. And then finally, you do get a second entry right off the EMA. Again, it's not the best location, it's not the best setup, but this has been a strong move, and that's the first move back to the EMA in a long time. You'll probably get a bounce there, or at least enough to get a scalp, and that thing just takes off. So I marked it green. And then you get another second entry right off the EMA, and this time you got a good signal bar. Just go long. I mean, it's been a strong move up, and you see, even though it doesn't go far and reverses, it's still an easy scalp. And then it turns down. And there's a lower high here. I didn't mark it because we don't have a break of this trend line yet, and we're still bouncing off this trend line. So there's actually a little trap. It actually breaks one tick higher. And look how sideways that is. It breaks one tick higher and fails instantly. But you can't take the trap. You don't want to go long there, and you can't take the short trap either. So you just have to watch that one go without you. And then you got this channel working now. I think this is more like this. It's probably even more like that. And you get a move up first entry, and then you get a second entry short. It's a little congested, but you're still making lower lows, and you make a lower low and a lower high. So I like going short there. It's good for a scalp, and then it just reverses and takes off the other direction. No chance to get in long. There is a second entry short up here, but this is your signal bar. This one doesn't qualify. First entry long takes off. Again, no chance to really trade this. And then there's another second entry short up here, but the signal bar is no good. Technically, there's a first entry right there, and there's your second entry. But you still could go short up here on this if you had a good signal bar, but you don't get one. Prices drop real fast, and you're chopping sideways. It's still respecting the trend line until you get a break here, and you get a first entry, and then a second entry short. It's not a perfect signal bar, but I think it closes in its lower third. It's close. You could argue maybe that's green. I liked it as a second entry because you're going to probably retest this low. And sure enough, you make a new low, and you come out of there. It's just a first entry, though. I'd wait. You do get a higher low here, but you're for some reason you're struggling to go higher. Just skip that. I don't see any shorts here. And then you get a second entry long on a breakout here, and you do get a channel down, a close outside, and a couple of swings to a new low. So you got to mark that green because you're better off to wait on a higher low. But at the same time, those breakouts usually fail, and you've already made a new low here. You actually made a new low at this point, so this is just a failed breakout. Odds are it's going to turn and go back the other direction, so maybe you want to go with it. Runs up, close outside, move to a new high. I mean, that's just at the 230. I'd be willing to give that a green because it's just barely at the 230 mark. You can see a 230.26. So 26 seconds after 230, I think you could justify going short there on that move. It is green. It's not a second entry because you got a first entry, second entry, third entry. So it's like a fourth entry. But you get a close outside the new high, plus it's a failed break out of that range. Again, you're better off to wait on the lower high, but if you want to be a little aggressive, that's a good place to do it because those often make important highs and lows. That one didn't tend to, but they often do. And then that's, of course, we're into 230 then. So there it is. Lots to pick from early on. Not much going on after lunchtime. But it was a great morning. So anyway, I hope you had a good trading day. Enjoy the day off again tomorrow. Quick vacation already again. And we'll see. Again, we'll see about Friday. I may or may not do a chart lesson. It just depends. I'm not going to say that for sure I'll do one, but I'll just say maybe. But definitely none tomorrow because the market's closed. So anyway, I'll see you Friday. Um, we'll have a mid-morning report regardless, so I'll at least see you in that regards, and maybe I'll see you for an afternoon recap. We'll just have to see how the day goes. But I'm going to wrap it up. Um, I'll be back in the office Friday. It may be Monday before I talk to you again here on the chart lessons. But have a great weekend if I don't see you again. And this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.